వెయిటింగ్ ఫర్ ఐపీ ఇందాక ఆఫ్లైన్
సేమ్ ఇప్పుడు లింక్ మారిందా? అదే లింక్ యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ కొత్తది కదా, నాకు ఫార్వర్డ్ చేయండి అది. తీసేయండి. నాకు పెట్టారా? ఇది ఇందులో చూడండి, వస్తుందో రావట్లేదు యూట్యూబ్లో. ప్రెజెంటేషన్ నాకు కూడా
ప్రెజెంటేషన్ ఎక్కడ పెట్టారు? స్ట్రీమింగ్ పెట్టారు కదా సెట్టింగ్, దీంట్లో స్ట్రీమింగ్ సెట్టింగ్
వస్తుందా? అది ఏదో వస్తుంది, అది వేరే వస్తుంది.
ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇప్పుడు పంపించిందా? ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ రెండుగా పంపించింది.
ఓకే,
అది వస్తుంది సార్, కాస్త టైం తీసుకుంటుంది సార్.
అది రావాలి.
ఇదే వస్తుంది,
టైం తీసుకుంటుంది.
లేకపోతే సత్య అది వాట్సాప్లో గ్రూప్లో పెట్టేసేయండి ఆ లింక్. మళ్ళీ దాని నుంచి ఫాలో. ప్లీజ్ యూజ్ దిస్ లింక్ ఫర్ యూట్యూబ్. ప్లీజ్ యూజ్ దిస్ యూట్యూబ్ లింక్ అని చెప్పండి ఫర్ లైవ్ స్ట్రీమ్. Please share it with all your classmates somewhere.
Okay. Hello, are you all there? Sorry for the delay. We just had a slight problem with the YouTube live streaming. Now I think it's okay. Okay, so today we are discussing about the class about copyrights. Can anyone tell me what is a copyright? Do you have any idea about the copyright? Please use the chat box and express your views. What is a copyright? What do you know? What do you mean by a copyright? Please use the chat box. Anybody? Is my voice audible? Okay, I think yes. Chaitanya Prabhu, he says a particular thing or something belonging to someone. Okay, that could be anything, right? Specifically, what is a copyright? What do you mean by a copyright? Shweta says copying someone's idea and using it. That's not a copyright. That can be copyright infringement or plagiarism. Hemant says right related to books. Intellectual property, Murari says. Shyam Kumar says copyright refers to the legal right of the owner of intellectual property. Okay, okay. If anyone wants anyone's invention, he needs to get the copyright. Sai Venkat says. Not entirely, but it's okay. Some of your classmates have already mentioned before. It is one of the form of the intellectual property rights. Vamsi says a type of intellectual property that protects original works of authorship as soon as an author fixes the work in a tangible form of expression. You're correct, Vamsi. I think you just have Googled it. It looks more like a textbook definition. I'm sure certainly you have Googled it. That's okay. Sirisha says copyright refers to the legal right of the owner of intellectual property. Okay. Everything is a legal right of the owner, even copyright, patents and all. What is the difference between a patent and a copyright? That is what I mean when I ask you what is a copyright. You all heard about what is a patent, right? What are patents? Patent is given to inventions, whereas copyrights is given to creative works. Okay, you're right. Priscilla, I think you're from Department of English. Okay, you're right. Devi says to print and publish copyright. Okay. Okay, it's Minna says it's one type of protection which enhances an individual invention and protects legally. Okay. See, you're all giving the other symptoms. Okay. Someone has already mentioned, as I told you, Vamsi has already told, it's like a type of intellectual property that protects original works of authorship as soon as an author fixes the work in the tangible form of expression, which in our day-to-day language, which means that the work should be, it could be any work related to literature or artistic work, literary works, these kind of works, not inventions. Okay, inventions are best protected by using patents. As Mary has said, patents are used for protecting technical inventions. Supriya says, sir, is this course important for all the AU affiliated colleges? Yes, Supriya, this is important for everybody. Even from a kid from 4th class or 3rd class to someone who is at his old age. This is important to everybody. By the time you wake up and by the time you go to sleep, everything is surrounded by IPR, and you are related with it. We've been very late in knowing about these IPRs. We are 20 years late at least. At least now you have this course introduced. So this is very important for everybody in knowing things. What is this and how it affects your life also. Okay, let's move on with the class. No, we are caught that, sir. Okay. Okay, see, if you have any questions, you can just post it in the chat box. We'll take up all the questions at the end of the class, okay? Till 4:50, we'll go with the class. And after 4:50, we'll continue with the questions, today's questions. And we have this copyright is taught in 2 classes for you because it's such an important topic and it's a huge topic. On Monday also, you'll have a class on copyright. So it's okay. You can express your doubts here. Till 4:50, we'll have the class, and after 4:50 to 5, we'll take up the questions. Okay. A copyright, Sai Venkat says, a copyright is a type of intellectual property that gives its owner the exclusive right to copy, distribute, adapt, and display, perform a creative work. You're correct, Sai Venkat. In a way, you're correct. Yes. So copyright's nothing but a form of intellectual property rights, as we already discussed in our previous classes. Intellectual property rights are of different types, like patents, copyrights, trademarks, industrial designs, geographical indications, plant variety rights, traditional knowledge. All these kind of things comes under the category of intellectual property rights. See, these are intangible form of rights. Okay, tangible form of rights, these belongs to the intangible properties. These are called intangible properties. These are associated with intangible properties. What are tangible properties? Something like your buildings, something that you can touch and feel. Okay, copyright is these intellectual property rights and copyrights are something like you cannot feel, you cannot touch physically, but these are the creations of the mind. Okay, so that's why these are called intellectual property rights. Okay, let's see what copyrights can protect. Okay. And there are some related rights also related to copyright. They are also part of the copyright law. Let's see what are they. So the legal rights that are provided by the law to the original creator of the work in the fields of literature, literature and software, in computer softwares. Even computer softwares are protected under copyrights, not by patents. All the inventions related to computer softwares, they are nothing but codes, right? Source codes. They are protected using the copyrights. So what are related rights then? The rights that encompasses the author's work in the fields of dramatics, sound recordings, paintings, architecture, etc. These are all categorized under related rights. Okay, there is a difference between these copyrights and related rights in terms of term of protections. Okay, basically the copyrights have the longest form of protection accorded to any form of intellectual property without renewing it. For example, patents, we've studied that for patents, the term of protection is 20 years from the date of filing of the patent application. If the patent is granted, then the patentee will get 20 years of protection, patent protection. In case of copyright, it would be the lifetime of the author plus 60 years in case of in India. That means if you write a book today and it gets published from today to till your death plus 60 years after your death. Till that time, that book will be under the copyright protection. So you can legally pass on this copyright to your legal heirs also, so that they can earn the royalty over it. They can use that work to gain money. So a lot of protection is given for copyright owners because they are more vulnerable for. Revati Kandregula, please switch off your video. Yeah. So the first form of legal international agreement that happened is that's called Berne Convention. It happened in the place called Bern in Switzerland. It happened in 1886. Okay. So what is a Berne Convention? It is a international convention happened for the protection of literary and artistic works. At that point of time, many countries come together and form this participated in this Berne Convention, so that they can agree upon the minimum protection that can be accorded to a copyright. So there are three basic principles that are agreed upon for this Berne Convention. So whenever you talk about copyright, you should remember this Berne Convention. That is the first international agreement. Okay. So there are three basic principles that are agreed upon during this Berne Convention. The first one is, why is this happening like this? You all able to see the presentation? Please use the chat box. Sai Priya says no, sir. Nagendra Babu, yes, sir. Okay. I just need one yes. That's it. Thank you. Okay. So I was saying that there are three basic principles that are agreed upon for this Berne Convention. The first one is national treatment. It says that the works originating in one of the contracting states, which India is, must be given the same protection in each of the other contracting states, as the latter grants to the works of its own nationals. It's a principle of national treatment. For example, someone from outside the country, let's say outside India, comes to apply for a copyright protection in India. So the Indian government should not differentiate between someone from an Indian citizen to the foreign citizen. The rights, all the rights that are accorded to an Indian citizen should be equally accorded to the foreign citizen also, if he happens to register his copyright. So there should not be any discrimination. That's called the principle of national treatment. That's one important major treatment. That's the first convention that happened for the copyright. You all should learn about this. Please note it down. If you're having the running notes, please take it out. First one is national treatment. And the second one is automatic protection. See, in case of patents or other forms of intellectual property rights, when will you get a right over it, a certain right over it? For example, if you want to have a patent, how will you get a patent? When you have an invention and when you apply apply for a patent in a patent application to the patent office. But in case of copyrights, there is no necessary for that. You need not to have apply for a copyright protection in a copyright application. No, you cannot. You need not to do that. You can automatically have the copyright over a work when you just finish the work. Let's say if you take a piece of paper and write a poem over it. Okay, by the minute you finish it, you will have a copyright over it. You need not to go for the copyright protection. That is a matter of choice. India still have a copyright office. And Mohan Rao, please stop requesting for annotations. We are not going to give any request, entertain any such requests. If you have anything, please put in your chat box. Please don't disturb the class. So I was saying, you need not to have a formal kind of application and protection for your copyright. However, if there is any cases, for example, if there is any future litigations, in case of litigations, in order to prove that the work originally belongs to you on so and so day, it is always advisable for you to register your work. India is still having a copyright office, so you can still. And by the way, it is the very cheapest form of, cheapest form where you can get a intellectual property right registered for you, for yourself in India. It's very cheap. Let's say 500 or something. That's it. It doesn't cost much. Okay, but you need not, even if you don't apply for it, if you can publish it somewhere on the internet or on YouTube, your work, then yeah, you will have a copyright over it. You can show the date of the date as a proof in case of there is any litigation before the court in future. So, three principles of Berne Convention, the three main principles. First one is the national treatment, and second one is automatic protection, and the third one is okay. This international agreement, the Berne Convention, was agreed upon for setting the minimum standards of copyright protection for everybody, all the contracting member states. India is also part of it. Till date, we have 186 countries party to that Berne Convention. So, one member of that Berne Convention accords copyright protection for one person in their country. It is valid. That protection is valid in all the member states equally. So there is no need for going to other country and fighting out with the different laws and all these kind of things. They'll all have same set of standards for determining copyrights. These are the minimum standards that are being agreed upon. Okay, that's the third point you need to remember. That is independence of protection. For example, if a country, let's say someone in India has got a copyright in India, and countries, by the way, countries are free to choose how much term of protection can be given. During this Berne Convention, it was agreed upon this minimum term of protection should be lifetime of the author plus 50 years. So, but in India, it is 60 years. So minimum should be maintained in all these member countries. You can give any number of years more than 50. It is the choice of the member countries. But at least minimum 50 years after the death of the author should be guaranteed by this Berne Convention. So all the 186 member states of this Berne Convention guarantees that the copyright work, the term of that copyright protected work will be for a lifetime of the author from the moment it was published or from the moment it was done till the lifetime of the author plus minimum of 50 years. In Europe, most of the countries it is like 60 years. In India also it is 60 years. I think in US it is 50 years. So these all countries are major countries are part of this Berne Convention. It is very, very important agreement for when you are studying intellectual property rights. Anyone can ask you, what is a Berne Convention? What are the three principles of Berne Convention? You need to remember in which year Berne Convention has been in which year Berne Convention happened. So these things you need to understand. And next comes the Universal Copyright Convention that happened in 1952. So what happened is Berne Convention, a lot of developing countries may not be able to, may not be able to sustain the standards set by this Berne Convention. So what happened is some of the developing countries, they came up with this, they formed this Universal Copyright Convention, and they set a minimum standard of protection. Minimum term of protection is lifetime of the author plus lifetime of the author plus 25 years. That's what they set for the minimum terms of protection. So whoever is not part of the Berne Convention are part of the Universal Copyright Convention. That's what you need to remember. And coming to Rome Convention. Rome Convention is about, as I said, it's related to the related rights. As we said, the topic is copyright and related rights. So Rome Convention is about those related rights. What are those rights? They are for the protection of performers. See, some performer performs his act or on a stage. So that is also artistic expression of the performer. So it also qualifies for a certain type of copyright protection. So this Rome Convention helps in establishing protecting these rights of these protection of performers, producers of phonograms, and broadcasting organizations. For example, there is a live event going on, a cultural event is going on, and the performer is performing on the stage. Okay, and that live event is being telecasted all over the country or all over the globe. So those people who are telecasting it, they also own some kind of right over their telecast. So that is what is related right. It's not exactly copyright, but a form of copyright, you can say. So those kind of rights were agreed upon by this Rome Convention in 1961. The rights of the performers, the rights of the producers of phonograms, broadcasting organizations. So all these three people, these cover under the related rights. Okay. And next comes the TRIPS agreement. TRIPS agreement is a very famous agreement, that happened in 1995. That is related exclusively. It is a IPR agreement that that covers all the aspects of IPRs, all IPRs, not just copyright, not just patent. It covers all forms of IPRs. Its full form is Trade Related Intellectual Property Rights Agreement. That is administered by WTO, World Trade Organization. So all the countries, because of this globalization and a lot of trade is going on, so there are some differences between one country to other country about certain laws, not just related to copyright, but other forms of intellectual property rights. So regarding the products that are involved in the trade. So this TRIPS agreement monitored by the WTO, World Trade Organization, that happened in 1995, wherein all the member states came together with minimum standards of protection. Minimum standards of protection for all forms of intellectual property rights, so that the global trade can smoothly take place. So quite often you can see there is some international trade dispute between countries. So there is a forum here in WTO. The TRIPS agreement provides a forum, certain forum called in WTO for these kind of dealing with these kind of trade related disputes. It's called Dispute Settlement Board. They have some dispute settlement board wherein these people can go there and establish their grievances there. If you see, there are a lot of complaints registered in the Dispute Settlement Board between countries like India and US, India and Europe, European countries. In a similar way, from Latin American countries to US countries, from China to Europe, US and China. A lot of trade-related intellectual property rights. They get violated sometimes, or discriminatory practices are recorded in giving protection to foreign nationals, IPR protection to foreign nationals. So all these kind of things will get settled in Dispute Settlement Board. And that is binding. So every country should follow it. Of course, local cases would be fought in the local courts, but these kind of international trade related disputes will be dealt in a Dispute Settlement Board, the WTO, World Trade Organization. So what are these copyright rights? What are these rights? If you have a work, for example, if someone has written a work, a book, or an essay, something like that. So what is exactly a copyright? The author who has written that work, who has the authorship, will have the right to translate. They will have the right to make adaptations and arrangements of that work. Okay, and they will have the right to perform in public dramatico, musical and musical works. They have the right to recite literary works in public. They have the right to communicate to the public the performance of such works. They have the right to broadcast, with the possibility that a state may provide for a mere right to equitable remuneration instead of a right of authorization, the right to make reproductions of that work, and the right to use the work as a basis for an audiovisual work. For example, even in cinematographic works. Okay. So these are the things that you will have, the copyright owner will have the rights. If someone does that without the permission of the copyright owner, then that person is infringing the copyright of the owner. So you are liable. You can take action on him, legal action on him. In some countries, copyright protection is very. You will have a. It is a criminal offense also, not just civil offense, but as a criminal offense also. So, intellectually, in IP sensitive countries such as Western countries, mostly, they give maximum, enforcement for this copyright protection, which means that they give lot of emphasis on copyright protected works. If there is some, what it means is, if someone is doing a copyright infringement, they take it very seriously. Just to give you an example, we all go, when we travel, we all go and stay in the hotels, right? In other places, hotels, and we use the hotel Wi-Fi passwords also. So sometimes previously what happened is, some tourists from Latin America, they went to Germany and they were traveling, and they used this hotel password in Germany when they checked in, and they downloaded a movie and saw a movie illegally from the pirated networks. And when they went back after a few months, they received a copyright infringement notice, saying that they are liable to pay some 3,000 euros to them, just because they have downloaded a movie and saw it. Otherwise, they will be liable for punishment. So even when they check in a public Wi-Fi network also. So that's how the copyright law has been implemented in the West. And for musical works and people for authors in West, you can see big association groups for this, like writers associations, music associations, music audio associations. They are very strong lobbies. So they'll have a predatory nature also. Sometimes they just go after the person. Even a single person sitting in his a simple student sitting in his in a single dorm also will have to pay a lot of lot of price if he happens to do such kind of things. If you remember, there was I hope you all know what is Ivy League colleges, Ivy League universities in West, something like Oxford, Harvard. So in one case is what happened is a student by name Aaron Schwartz. He's just a student. Okay, I think around in 2016 or 14. He happened to download a lot of paywall journals, scientific journal publications from the university library. What he did is he just downloaded all of those articles. Those are beyond the paywall, and then he distributed them to all the other students. So at some point of time, a lot of these online journals, they came after him with legal notices, and ultimately with the pressure, that kind of pressure built on him, he couldn't take it, and he attempted suicide. Actually, he was one of the he's from a Ivy League college, Ivy League university, and it has become a big movement also there. His name is Aaron Schwartz. You can just Google it and you will get it. In a similar way, there are some political parties in Europe also. It's called, the name itself is called Pirate Party. So they have a representation in European Parliament. They won the elections and they got 2 seats or 3 seats in 2016, I think. So what they want is, they want to remove all these restrictions over these copyright restrictions. Unfortunately, they don't have a majority, but they are in very minority, but still they have representation in European Parliament. They are from their party is called Pirate Party. Some people from the political science here in the class can also be. It could be interesting for them. You may refer it. You can just Google it and you can find it out. Okay, so this is about the international agreements. So one basic thing you need to remember is for copyright, originality is the main key criteria. Originality and the authorship, the original author. The creative aspects of this originality could be subjective. See, what is creative, very creative to me may not be creative to the other person. It is very subjective. Originality is nothing but objective kind. Anything that is new is original, right? So the work should be original. Then you can have a copyright over it. The emphasis on creative aspect of that work is very low. Any minimum level of creativity can be passed for copyright protection. But it should be 100%, 100% original work. Only then it will have a copyright. So that's one thing you need to remember about a copyright. So in India, copyrights are governed by Indian Copyrights Act 1957. It has been later subsequently amended in 81, 84, 92, 94 and 99 with in 2000 also. So in the amendment in 1994, it's related to the technological changes in the means of communications like broadcasting and telecasting and the emergence of new technologies like computer software. If you can remember, right, in 1990s, if I don't know if how many of you were born then, you can ask some of your parents. In 1990s, you only have one channel, Doordarshan. In by the time we come to 96, because of economic liberalization, we started getting a lot of foreign fundings, a lot of private players coming in, and then we started getting a lot of number of TV channels booming up. Later after 2000, it just blew with the advent of internet. So whatever you just see the pictures on the internet and you copy it and paste it on your Facebook as your profile pictures, just directly taking it from the internet, that is also copyright infringement. You have to respect the work of the original creator. You have to take his permission. You have to quote his reference that you are taking from him. That is a proper way of taking a work, using a work. You have to take the permission of the original creator. And you have to respect the authorship of that work. That is the main aspect of these intellectual property rights. Okay, it's very easy for you to copy the same essay or the homework, with your fellow students. Whatever they write, you can just simply copy. But what you are actually doing is you're infringing his copyright. That person can take a legal action. In short. So what are the works that are protected under copyright? As we said, they are literary works that include softwares, books, essays, compilations, oral speeches, databases, computer programs. And also one more thing, as we said, the work should be original. It should also have a fixation of that work. It should be it should be fixed in some kind of medium, proper medium. Okay. Be it a pen drive, be it a USB stick, be it on a memory card, be it on a internet, somewhere it has to be stored on a medium. It has to be fixated in some form of medium. For example, audio tapes in form of tapes. This musical notations in form of tapes or somewhere. It should have a medium where it can be reproduced. So it should be fixated. The work should be fixated. These are the only two conditions to have a copyright. First one is originality. The work should be 100% original. It can be less creative also, no problem. But it should be fixated in some form of medium. Originality and fixation. So those kind of works can qualify for copyright protections. Okay. Next, the works protected under copyright, literary works, as we have said. Yeah, databases can also be protected. There are firewalls created on the for the databases. You know, paywalls. As I said, online journals. Okay, they can be copyright protected. If you bypass those measures, and access it illegally, then you are liable for copyright protection, copyright infringement. Those people can take action on you. So you need to understand that. But in India, we don't have that database protection yet. But this law is very much advanced in Western countries, and they take it very seriously. Copyright infringements. Next, artistic works. Artistic works such as drawings, paintings, logos, maps, charts, plans, photographs, works of architecture, yes, even sculptures also. Photographs, engravings, craftsmanship. So all these qualifies under the works protected under copyright in the category of artistic works. And dramatic works, screenplays, dramas, these can be protected as copyrighted works under dramatic works. And for musical works, musical notations, notes, all these kind of things can be protected. So for all these things, what is the term of protection? As I said, the lifetime of author plus 60 years from his year of death. You need to know this. Okay. And there are some other works that are protected under copyright. They are sound recordings. They can be fixated in compact discs, CDs, audio CDs, or cassettes. So they can be fixated in those mediums, and then they can be protected. Cinematograph films, okay, visual recordings, which include sound recordings and visual recordings, motion pictures, TV programs. So they all have the term of protection as 60 years from the year when the above work is published. So by the time when this work publishes, it has only 60 years, not the lifetime of author. So you need to remember the difference between the works that are protected for 60 years and the works that are protected for lifetime of author plus 60 years. This presentation will be shared with all of you, so don't worry. It will be shared with all the CRs. You can take it from your CRs. So one of the example I want to share with you, there is a very famous author called Harivansh Rai Bachchan. He is the father of Amitabh Bachchan. So he wrote a book called Madhushala. It was published in 1935. Okay. He is a Hindi poet, and it was under copyright protection till 2063 because he recently got expired in, he expired in 2003. So from 2003 till 60 years, that is 2063. So it is under, this book is under copyright protection from 1935 to 2063. That's effectively almost 130 years. See? So that is the longest period of protection this book is having. And how is copyright is designated? In the similar way, if you recall, Adolf Hitler, his book Mein Kampf, he died in 1945. His book was under copyright protection till 2015. From 1945. There, the copyright protection was for lifetime of author plus 70 years in Europe. So the Mein Kampf that was written by Adolf Hitler was responsible for Second World War. That book was under copyright protection till 2015. So how is this designated? It is simply designated by symbol C within a circle, or you can just write copyright over it, or the abbreviation COPR followed by the year of the publication of the work. You can just write a poem on a piece of paper, and you can just write a C in a circle and then write the year of that work, which is this year, 2022. It will be under copyright protection. You have a copyright over it. In the similar way, for sound recordings, to designate that that work is under copyright, you have to put a letter P in the circle, or the word copyright, or abbreviation COPR, followed by the publication of that work. So public year should be mentioned. That is very important. And as I said, originality is the first and prime requirement for this, for any work to qualify for the copyright protection, and then fixation in some kind of medium. Minimum level of creativity can be good. So these are the rights that a copyright owner can. Rights of reproduction, communication to the masses, adaptation and translation of the work. So a copyright owner can monitor all these things. No one can do these things, reproduction or reproduction of that work, or translation of that work, or communication of that work to the masses, without the permission of the copyright owner. If he does that, then it's a copyright infringement. I think you can just see in the news that when Rahul Gandhi is doing this Bharat Jodo Yatra, some songs from the Kannada movie KGF are being played. So the BJP workers, what they've done is, through the makers of KGF, this movie, they filed this copyright infringement case on them, because this music has been being played during this Bharat Jodo Yatra. It is nothing but communicating to the masses. So that also qualified under copyright infringement. So you should not do that. You should know that that is an illegal activity that qualified as a copyright protection infringement. Sorry. Copyright protection is valid only when the work is in tangible form and the work has to be original. See, it should be fixated, I said, right? So it should be in a fixated form. And the threshold on creativity is very low. A minimal level of creativity can pass this test. Even original works with minimal levels of creativity can also be protected using copyright, but duplication cannot be allowed. So if you do the duplication, just mere copying, then it qualifies for the classic case of copyright infringement. So copyrights is nothing but an exclusive right for the author in the areas of publication, distribution, and usage. Sorry, I think I've been past time. We'll stop it here. We continue in the next class. Till now, if you have any doubts, please use the chat box. I'll take up your queries from the chat box. Once. Okay, what is the meaning of tangible, sir? Anusha says. Something that you can touch, you can feel. I already told in the beginning what is a tangible property, what is intangible property. Intellectual property rights are mostly associated with intangible properties. Yes, physical forms. You're correct, Sirisha. Krishna Teja, you need to wait. It will be posted. Don't just be here for the attendance. Try to gain some knowledge here. Sir, maximum period of copyright, it depends on how long you live, how long the author lives. In India, it is lifetime of the author from the year of the publication of that work plus 60 years. But in case of Europe, it is lifetime of the author from the year of the publication of the work plus 70 years. So it depends. Mohan says, after 2062, who got the right of that copyright? After 2063, I believe it is 2063. Okay. After that, it will be in the public domain. Anybody can freely use that work. Supriya says, this course is of how many days? Supriya, please contact your class representative. The class schedule has been shared with him or her. So will you provide any certificate of the completion of the course? Supriya, please contact the IPR center if you have any questions like these. Please don't use the chat box for these kind of queries. Let's restrict the chat box for, for the class, related to the class, queries related to the class. All the basic queries can be answered if you can directly approach us. Okay, let's take questions here. Copyright. Mohan says Copyright Act introduced in which year, sir? As I've shown you, in India it is introduced in 1957. But internationally, the major treaty that happened is Berne Convention, 1886. That happened. So you need to remember that. Okay, next Praveen says, sir, what is the third international agreement? Related to copyright, it is Rome Convention. That happened in 1961. That is for the related rights. As I told you, related rights are nothing but the rights of the broadcasters, performers, protection for performers, those who perform on the stage, like mime artists, dance performers, and the producers of phonograms, audiovisual works, for these people who telecast or broadcast the works, for those people. Rome Convention. Next, Banu Prasad asks, sir, basket weaving is art. Can I get copyright for this art? See, it should be original, right? It's been known for centuries old. It's a traditional form of art. It's not something new. It should be new. I hope I answered it. Mohan, is it punishable when we use any copyright without any permission of that particular? Yes, it is punishable if you use it for your commercial purposes, for your own purposes. Generally it is very strict in the Western countries. Supriya, I hope my voice is clear. Please check your mics. If my voice is not clear, it is with strong. That would be your device problem. Please visit IPR office. Is it punishable when we use any copyright without any permission of that particular person? Yes, it is. Legally, it is. But there are some exceptions also. We will deal with the exceptions in the next class. P. Ramya says, what are the uses of copyright? See, if I do some work, I want nobody to use that work, only myself. So if I write a story, the story writer want to benefit from that work, right? If someone else copies that work and earns the benefit out of it, then what's the point? So I will feel that my creativity has been robbed, right? The recognition I should get is not getting for me. So the author loses his identity, his work. See, for copyright, it's mostly related to the art, right? You can see artistic forms and all. See, with artists, what happens is some kind of a personal pride is also associated with it. So they feel the art is more personal than any person who is doing a scientific experiment. The art forms are more personal in nature, right? It also, the work that an artist carries or does will also have some kind of imprint of the artist also on that work. That when that is being misused or misappropriated, then it hurts the sentiments of the author also. So it is very essential for that person, for the author, to be to protect his work. So the copyright gives that right for that author to take legal action and penalize action on the copyright infringers. I hope that answered your question. We can deal with it in the next class also, if you're not satisfied. Narendra Babu says, Narendra Babu says, if we have published our work on some social media without a copyright, someone after 10 years had filed a copyright, do we have any chance to gain justice from court of law by showing publish it? Of course, that is the purpose of you to publish the work in some way. Of course, you can take action. You can see, first of all, the Copyright Office will itself do the check, and if they find out, they won't grant the copyright over to that person. Mary asks, do we get royalty from copyright? Yes, of course, you can get a royalty if you license your work. If you license your just like any screenwriter. YouTube YouTube lo kuda pettandi. Yes, of course, a writer, lyric writer or a screenplay writer will always get a royalty for his work, right? In the same way, if you want to license your, if you want to give, license your work to some people who can repeatedly use your work, so you can get royalties over it also. How to give a attendance link will be posted in the chat box, so you can use that link and give your details there, register your details there. Devi says, sir, what happens when a copyrights expire? I already answered it. When copyrights expire, the term of the copyright expire, then that work is falls into the public domain. So anybody can any which way use that work. Okay, sir, can you tell again, Supriya? Courses of how many days? Please contact Center for IPRs, Andhra University. Please come to Center for IPRs, Andhra University, Supriya. I hope I'm clear to you. So what happens when a copyrights expire? Again, the same question. Sir, can you send the PPT or IPR material PDF to us? We will be sharing all the class materials with your CRs. So if you ask your CRs to share it with you, if they don't share it, then it is a mistake with them. We always share the materials after the class. Ananya, she asks, sir, does copyright have territorial jurisdiction just like a patent? Yes, yes, yes. All intellectual property rights are territorial rights. Does copyright have territorial jurisdiction just like a patent? Yes, I've answered it. Certificate will be provided or not. Supriya, please contact IPR office. Damodar Upendra. A particular person have a copyright. What happens is copyright after his death. As I told you, it goes to his legal heirs. Just like what happens to the legal property of that person, the same thing happens to this copyright also. Shweta, sir, when we publish a work on one platform, but someone copied or wrote the same work later on another platform, and we got to know later, what action can we take to get back our authorship? See, authorship will be with you only. What you can best do is you can get that work removed from that other platform. Okay. Quite often we see that there are channels like YouTube, like Vimeo. That is also a video sharing platform. Okay, video content sharing platform. So a similar video posted in the another platform like Vimeo or Yahoo videos or Google videos. So you can take action. You can take copyright violation action, and then they'll take it down. That's why you see some of the videos posted in YouTube. After some time, you cannot see them again because they have been taken down because of the copyright violations. So you will have authorship. No one can take that authorship away from you once you publish that in the public domain or somewhere if you publish it, and you can establish that with the proof. Mohan says, sir, you said that some kind of university is charges when we uses Wi-Fi. Like that, they are punishing us. Why they are punishing? See, we have to respect universities are charging. See, universities are not charging. Those journals, okay, those paid journals, online journals, they will be punishing the student. They will be punishing the people who steal their work, their contents from their databases and distributes them for all the people, not the universities. Anita attendance links. Sirisha, Can two or more people own the copyright to a single work? Yes, 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 yes. If it is a single work shared by two people, all the people can claim the copyright over it. Involved can claim copyright over it. Are there any copyright limitations? Yes, Uma Maheshwari, there are limitations to any kind of IPRs. Not just copyrights, even for patents also there are limitations. Even for trademarks also there are limitations. We'll be dealing with them in the next class, okay? So the attendance link has been posted. Please use it and fill the attendance forms. You can also share it with your classmates. It is also posted in the YouTube stream link also. There also they can have it. Okay, so thank you. Nagendra Babu said, does a copyright of our work can be transferred to other who is willing to purchase our work? Yes, yes, yes. But there is also some intricacies in that. I'll explain that in the next class. In US, you can do that. In Europe also, you can do that, but to some limited extent. In India also, you can do that, but to a limited extent. To what extent I'll explain that in the next class. Shreya says, sir, can more than one people get copyright of same question I've already answered, Shreya. You might not be listening. Please pay attention. Yes. Answer is yes. So I hope I answered all the questions. Please pose the. Please, if you have any questions, please be ready with them for the next class. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you. We'll be posting the attendance link once again. Please go through it and please fill the attendance.
అక్కడ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఏమైనా వచ్చాయా? అదే మానిటర్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఎంతమంది వచ్చారు? 12 ఎంత? విన్న వాళ్ళకి బెనిఫిట్
తర్వాత ఎక్కువ మంది చూస్తారు. ఇప్పుడు మనము సెకండ్ క్లాస్ వాళ్ళు చూడమని చెప్తారు.
మనకి వాళ్ళకి ఎవరైనా కావడం మనకు కావాలి.
చాలా
లేదు
చాలా లేట్గా పెట్టాము. చాలా లేట్గా పెట్టాము.
ఒక్క నిమిషం బాగానే